Tapping in.
Are we live?
I love that. I just noticed that there's just an image from Paid in Full in the recommended and review thing. I love that.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, dude. If you really pay attention to what those images are, they're very stereotypical, dude. They're right on the nose with what they're supposed to be.
But that's perfect. Paid in Full is my favorite movie, so it's only right that it should be in the segment that leads into when we review music and movies. Man, King Richard, starring Will Smith, Body.
Yeah. Hey, I think, bro, and we came up on the right time of Will Smith because we were the Fresh Prince generation. Or Fresh Prince we were the last tail of the Fresh Prince generation, let me say.
Yeah. We were the generation that didn't so much watch it live week to week, but we got the reruns heavy, right? Big rotation of Fresh Prince always in my household, right? It was Fresh Prince and Martin was always was a staple when I could get the TV on.
For sure. And we talking Cousin Skeeter days. We talking we're going all the way back when we talking Fresh Prince days off of Nickelodeon.
Yo, so let me ask you a black ass question. How much TV were you allowed to watch during the week?
My mother was a teacher, bro. I didn't get that type of luxury, to be honest. Over the week, not much, but also don't forget I spent a lot of time in boarding school, so that takes away all that TV element of it. But it sounds to me like you were on a tight strict.
Parents ran a tight ship. How much
TV were you allowed?
Ran over a tight ship. I was not allowed to watch. I was not allowed to have the TV on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday after school.
Wait. Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday?
He's like, that is many of the days of the week, my guy. Yeah.
I was gonna say, why did they just say all week? What day did they give you?
Yeah, that's what it was. So on weekdays, on school nights, essentially, I wasn't allowed to watch TV, minus Sunday, which is technically a school night, but I was allowed to watch. And I spent many a night watching Nick at Night, Fresh Prince, the show. You know what I'm saying?
Damn, Miles. Yeah, I really glowed up when I had a TV in my room with my own remote. Oh, bro, it was.
Oh man,
we're going in.
One day on the podcast, we'll tell the story of how I campaigned for 2 years to get a TV in my room and got it taken out 4 days after I got it put in my room. Set up my Nintendo, got taken away on punishment. Never got a TV in my room again. Yeah, so. Any odd time I got to watch The Fresh Prince in an enjoyable, comfortable setting was very meaningful to me, and that did for sure kick off my appreciation of Will Smith. Both Fresh Prince as the show and Fresh Prince as the rapper. Man, I remember some of the of course the theme song, but Parents Just Don't Understand, Nightmare on My Street. That some of those early Fresh Prince, Jazzy Jeff Jones was my introduction to hip hop as well. There's big Will Smith appreciation over here,
bro. You know what I think hip hop does, not, and I'll say hip hop because Will Smith is part of hip hop culture. What hip hop does too much is we make it cool to hate on somebody as a default response to their thing. We're very quick to be like, oh, he washed up, he made trash movies. Which is some of the critique that we were hearing about Will Smith, right? Oh, he doing all of this stuff, all this new stuff that he's doing with blogging and be the dad on TikTok, like all of that, right? Like I get that, but this man is a legend, a living legend, right? This dude, Will Smith is that guy, dog. Before Jamie Foxx was that guy. Will Smith was that guy. Will Smith, since Denzel, Will Smith has been that guy. Touching on I'm Robot, I Legend,
this dude named 2 movies. Woo! It's all right, champ. I'll take it from here. Ali, 6 Degrees of Separation. You know what I'm saying? You might have seen him in The Pursuit of Happiness. You know what I'm saying? You might know my guy from what else is Will Smith in, man? That's pretty solid.
Hitch, bro, Hitch.
Hitch.
People forget that Miles used to think he was Hitch for a good 3 years of his life.
So I'm gonna give you a moment to elaborate upon the accuracy of that statement. Was I not nice with the assists?
I was speaking more so towards the fact that the lady he was speaking to was Latina, but sure, bro. That's
all right, fine. That's fair. I did spend a lot of time chasing Eva Mendez's. That's accurate. I'll take that. I'll take that.
I guess it's me if you look at it through that lens. Yeah.
If you look at it through that lens, for sure. But I was nice. I was Chris Paul out here, baby. See, we're gonna have a reminiscent episode. We got one day recommended and review is just gonna be us reminiscing about all of these little half stories that Zoe's bringing up, because you gotta tell the full thing. I was nice out here. You were benefited from my hitchness. You got hitched a couple times.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that you hitched me? Are you saying that you were my hitch?
Hey, bro. I'm saying for sure that there was definitely some Allegra Coles, and there was definitely some situations that was eased on into. You know what I'm saying? Are you going to deny that? What's happening here?
This whole time I thought me and you came up in the game together, bro. You tell me you're my coach all of a sudden, bro. I thought we both made it out the game together.
Nah, no cap. Real talk.
Nah.
I got my assist numbers are high in the rafters. No?
Of course. But I like to think we're in the same rafters is all to say not to get distracted. We all wanted to be hitched because Will Smith is that cool. So to see him now assume this very particular type of role that our celebrated older male black actors get into, where they take these very dignified roles and they become who we look to in order to represent important figures. Denzel had that, right? Like when we go, okay, who's gonna represent Antoine Fisher? All right, cool. Let's get Denzel to come in and do that role, and we can trust it. Same thing now that we're gonna see with Will Smith taking on this, and I think besides chasing the big Hollywood movie like Aladdin, you know what I'm saying? But like, it is what it is. That's the game. This type of role, I think, always leaves me with so much appreciation for the craft that this man does.
And I think that's part of why the culture struggles so much with where to put Will Smith, right? Because the same guy who played Ali played Genie in Aladdin 2 years ago, right? It was blue for the entire movie. So I think there's not that actors shouldn't be able to spread out and have range and be able to do kids movies and do fun stuff. But I think Will Smith's catalog is so eclectic that there's definitely joints that are missable for somebody in there, right? And when you can so easily point to movies that, not for me. Focus, maybe not for me.
Focus was cool, bro.
Focus was decent, cool. But I'm saying I could see how a lot of people could just be like, After Earth, not for me. You know what I'm saying? Concussion, not for me. And when there are so many when he's stretching his catalog to try and bring different types of movies, maybe they don't hit, you do leave yourself open to a lot more criticism and being written off, right?
Yeah. I
think hip hop struggles to allow people to age into something different, right? I think we want, in much the same way that Denzel is successful because we can always look to him to bring a certain machismo, a certain gravity to a role. Will Smith, who's tried to do that and then leave that and be light, and then leave that and be a comedian, and then leave that and be in all these different spaces, be on TikTok. I think we are we oversaturated? Have we seen too many sides of Will Smith now?
I wouldn't, I think from a consumer perspective, I could say that, but from a business perspective, there's no way that I wouldn't encourage somebody who's and this is his business, to go out and get every single coin that he can. If it's there for the taking, then sir, by all means, rack them coins up. It goes to what we speak about. When a black man makes money, a lot of people eat. So, and he seems like the type of person who gives out game very freely, recently dropping his autobiography, right? So any type of man like that, that's all about giving out game. And if you want to be a genie, so be it. Jay-Z making 2 double discs with R. Kelly. We don't look at
Wow.
those albums.
Well,
Was
that'll
that
be
not
the
a money
last
grab?
time that is ever mentioned on the podcast.
Was that not a money grab? We did. We saw it. It was
Oh,
still
dude,
nasty. Fresh off
that's
a tape.
that's gross. But yeah, so I feel what you're saying, man. I feel and to the point of the conversation we were just even having about the metaverse not getting left behind. You see these opportunities, you see these new platforms, and you're either on board or you're watching it pass by. So for him to jump into the Instagram, the TikTok space speaks to somebody who is still hungry, right? Who still wants to contribute something to the culture. And I think that that's beautiful. But I think that all of that speaks to the space of uncertainty that we're at with Will Smith. I think there was a time when, whether it was Bad Boys or Independence Day, right? We were gonna be, our butts were gonna be in the seats for whatever Will Smith movie was dropping in July. Men in Black, right? The first one, right? Like, and I think now we're in a space where we're not so sure we're gonna have a good time as we were in the early 2000s with Will Smith, right? And I think that is where we find him taking on this role as King Richard in a space where I don't know if I would say he has something to prove, but he is in an opportunity to win people over with a good performance, or to lose a lot of people checking for him if it had been not good.
And he's the right person to do this role, especially because of how sensitive of a matter this is, right? And when I say sensitive, this character of a very strict black a black male, like, father and role model, in the drive for the success of their children, tends to go checked no matter which iterance you see of it, right? You see the same thing. They said the same thing to Sean Porter's father after Sean Porter's father after the fight recently. The same thing to Big Baller Brand, right? They were criticizing taking his children out of school, making them not sign the Nike contract, all of these different criticisms. But that same man has three of his children playing in the NBA in some facet. Dude, that is so impossible to do as a black man. Even Michael Jordan's 3 kids didn't all make it to the NBA. You know what I mean? But for somebody to be able to carry that through, and we saw the criticism that LeVar Ball got. He's outspoken, he's brash, he's uncouth, he's problematic, he's a distraction to his children, he doesn't let his children speak, he overworks them. Those are and I bring those 2 things together because that's the same criticism that we hear of this person, and the same thing they said about Tiger Woods' father as well, right? What is missed in what is missed in all of this is how difficult it is to be that type of figure, to get your children out of this poverty-stricken environment, right? And that's why I love how Will Smith was able to play this role, because he really encapsulates the full struggle of it, the sacrifices, the taking the beatings quietly, the understanding what the bigger decision to make is, even if it's going to be the unpopular decision to make, and then being chastised for it by the public, by your own family, even. You know, we saw that happen. But it just speaks to how incredible of a feat that it is that Venus and Serena Williams became, dude. It's incredible.
The opportunity to big up Black fatherhood, Black parenthood, Black households, I think, is one that I'm a 1000% here for. And I appreciate you bringing up all of the athletic examples, from the Ball family to Tiger Woods, right? Of these parents that understood not only that it takes an incredible amount of training to get somebody ready to compete at the highest level in whatever that sport is, but also in raising young Black kids, that there's going to be so much pressure. There's going to be, you're not only playing for you, right? And that's something that is echoed in the movie when Richard is talking to Serena, right? Or no, Venus, and saying, you're not playing, you're not just playing for you. You know, every little black girl that sees you has the opportunity to see herself in you. And how do you prepare someone um for that as a child, right? And is it right to and to have a movie really focus and spotlight on how the obstacles and the hurdles, both mental and physical and structural, that they faced and trying to achieve at the highest level, um and the strength of a black family through that. I'm 100% here for that representation and for that type of story to be told, and for that positivity to be able to permeate, right? There's a lot more to talk about this story, the focus, the choice to focus on Richard rather than on Venus or Serena, or even his wife, right? But for what it is, I really appreciated that representation and what Will Smith brought to the role, the gravity, the emotionality, um, the care, the tenderness, right? To be able to see a black father be tender on camera and for that to result in success, I think was important, bro.
For sure. And in the midst of discussing all these pivotal movie moments, we are reminded by the chat that King Richard did throw up a fart in the meeting.
Yeah. Word. And this movie, that I think that speaks to, like, this movie had a lot of moments that are just emblematic of things that black people feel in the face of being told by whiteness, right? There's the frustration of having to defend yourself for doing the right thing, right? A la when DCFS is in his house and he has the girls spell civilization. You want to check on the kids? Let's check on the kids. The frustration of the effort, putting that effort in and still being questioned as a parent. And that validity, right? Yeah, cutting that fart in the meeting of just being like, this is all BS and I have to sit through it because I want to achieve, and these are the spaces where decisions are made. But as a regular person, as a black person, I can see through this, right? When he comes and sits down at the table and he says, I want to appreciate all y'all for taking off y'all hoods before we got here, right?
Yeah,
There's so many moments
yeah.
in this movie that are just emblematic of that. And that's some of the, and that ring true in that way.
One of the doper scenes for me was definitely when they're in the car after Venus wins and they're criticizing and they're just being playful and celebrating. And he was like, you need to have a certain level of humility, right? And like that particular scene is so pivotal because it like really touches on the essence of being a champion and a leader, right? Like people follow how graceful you are in your defeats, you know how gracious you are in your success and how graceful you are in your defeat. And I think those are like the most important quality of being a champion is being able to be grateful if you when you do lose, because that will happen. But it's how do you treat your wins that determines is how you're going to be react to your losses. If you make graceful and grateful in your successes, then you breathe that into how you're going to handle your losses. Otherwise, you see it switch up all the time. Deontay Wilder did the same thing too. In his loss, he started throwing out around excuses and all of that, and that is innately just off-putting, and it does not allow for people to have trust in your instincts. You know, so I love that from a young age, instilling that, especially in Black women who would be up against so much adversity and be up so much criticism and scrutiny, and they were looking at their hair. People don't remember when these girls started playing, and even to this day, Serena Williams is still going through criticisms about her outfit. It's too provocative. She's too big. The hair, it's nappy, it's whatever. A lot of times coming from other Black women, but we don't need to go there right now. All to say that graceful approach to winning spoke in order to keep a tempered and measured outlook on at high stress. I thought that was dope.
Big facts, big facts. And I'm glad we got the documentary. There's the documentary about Serena just dropped. So I'm glad to kind of have that piece of content to kind of round this out, right? This is very Venus focused, as it should be historically. And I really appreciated getting to see that side told in like a story narrative. But it's dope to have all these other pieces to kind of fill out the whole story, right? I think this movie is a great example of taking such a rich piece of history and depicting it in such a way that allows it to resonate with a lot of Black folks and Black families who watch it, but always lifting up like the even more complex truth, right, of their relationship that evolved, and again, that these are real people, right? Oracene, or Brandy, his wife, depicted incredibly by Ayunjanu Ellis. Sorry, I'm sure I butchered that name, but Miss Ellis did an amazing job portraying her. I would encourage people to go check out that documentary. I would encourage people to, I'm pretty sure the father wrote a book as well, so I would check that out, Richard. But yeah, man, this is incredible story, well told, well acted. I would encourage folks to go see this, man. It's a great feel good movie. I would give this a 4 out of 5, I think.
Definitely. We're giving it a 4 out of 5. Hey man, the road of independence is filled with being second guessed throughout the whole way. That's just how that goes. And that 4 out of 5 for this movie, for being able to demonstrate something that I believe so wholeheartedly, so well.
So let me ask you real quick before we get up out of here, like, in the choice of having a kid, right? What is the responsibility in being like, well, does this kid get to grow up and choose what they want to do, or like where does the ethical question lie in being like, all right, you're born, boom, you're going to play tennis, and that's what I'm going to teach you to do?
That's subject to the gravity of your environment, and also to the expectations that you have for your own kids, right? A lot of parents are trying to want to give their children more than what they had, right? And I think that's a hallmark of a successful parent. We are grateful all the time, one, that we have both of our parents in our lives, which is very unique, and also the fact that the life that they gave us is a life that they never had themselves. Now, the sacrifices either that they had to make on us, I was pressured to go into school. What? You know what I mean? I was, to a certain extent, there was a certain expectation that was placed on what you need to have to accomplish in order to pick up this baton and run forward. Now, there's people that are even in more grave situations that might not have the luxury of being able to be like, go out, figure it out. We'll support you we'll support you in being the best version of yourself, which is another great way to raise children. But if your environment is bad enough, I could definitely see how having a very tight leash is the only way to get people out of it. I can see that, where you have to predetermine someone's future for them up until the time where they can start making their own decisions, like we saw Venus do in the meeting, where he was like, listen, it's your deal. Do you want to sign it? Do you want to sign it? You know, now you're at that place where that leash is a little bit looser. You can start making your own decisions, but look at where I'm starting you in terms of starting to make your own decisions. You're 15 years old negotiating $13 million.
Big facts. And I think, yeah, it speaks to questions that we're asking on a community scale, right? Is what is the best way to reach kids, to allow them to maximize their full potential? And what are the structures that you build around? What types of programming can you implement to, create? Because we can't father everybody's kids, and we shouldn't, right? We shouldn't look to, like, parents have a role to play. But in terms of lifting up our whole communities, how do we, as people who serve those communities, give all the resources to kids in order to move forward? So I appreciate you kind of just applying a little bit of thought to that question.
Hey man, you can't father everybody's kids, and you can't father everybody's girlfriend. You know what I mean? there's a lot of that going around too.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
There's a lot of that going around too.
Right.
You're in a relationship. You think you poppy? Nah, bro. You dad. You dad, bro.
I don't know, dude. I see a lot of kids in my work that I wish I could connect to positive mentors. I don't have the same lens when it comes to people's girlfriends, but I think I won't. You're right. When you're right, I guess.
No, but like on some real stuff though, right? In actuality, bro, we see this all the time. We say a lot of gangsters in Chicago, or a lot of these gangsters are just people that just miss too many hugs, are just misunderstood thugs, people that need a hug. You know what I'm saying? So having a father figure, the presence alone sometimes is even enough to, you don't have to become a Serena Williams. You could just do something that brings you joy. You can be able to give your family even a little bit more than what they had, the comfort of stable income, the access to new sides of the world and information and things to enjoy. You know what I mean? So that's the big thing, is that the dads are not in the house. The dads are not in the house, bro. These that like so many people are growing up without knowing, having any relationship or side relationship. Pop's done left. He doesn't care, doesn't check in. And that's the reality for so many people. And that there's no way you can speak about how bad what's happening in Chicago is, or how bad what's happening in the hoods that we're in is, without addressing the fact that, yo, where's everybody's dad?
Yeah, word. And there's a lot of layers to that, right? There's a layer of sexual and reproductive health, and education and access. There's a incarceration layer to that. How many people's dads are locked up, right? Um, and again, it just speaks to that need for mentorship, that need to take whatever strategies we can to give kids the best chances. And I think a very personal and parental focused approach was depicted in this film. But how do we take as much of that that focus and that those protective factors that allowed those girls to grow up in Compton and be so successful, and how do we distribute that knowledge to the community, because it takes a village, and how do we prepare the village to raise the kids up in it with that understanding that you can't, that me and you and whoever feels like we're and part of community work and community organizing can't take responsibility for every other person. How do we build the capacity of the community to take responsibility for each other?
Yeah, yeah. That is the big question. And a lot of the times, man, does really come through with people who have an interest and a network, and they just bring the interest into communities where people might not have that, or take kids from those communities and expose them to your interests. It could be flying, it could be golf, it could be whatever it is. It's just a matter of being able to expose somebody to a reality that they can envision in themselves. And if you've motivated that person to want to go get it out themselves, then you've changed somebody's whole life like that, right? A lot of the times we're seeing that the trauma that these kids are facing is limiting what they can even see about what they can be. They don't know that you can they don't know that you can build a life that you actually want. You can create your reality. You can envision a life for yourself and probably find a pathway to take it. Now,
Yeah.
is it going to happen exactly how you want it to? Now that's life, right? Is accepting the fact that things probably might not go towards your plan, but you can land slightly under that, or you can land within that vicinity, or you can have some form of success in it. You might not be the best, but you could still enjoy some luxuries of growth within that, right? And if you can be content with that, that's joy. You've hit the sweet spot. But people don't have that vision to even look out. They don't even have that vision to see that for themselves, because they stunted by their trauma, poverty, crime, all of that.
So imagine, put yourself in a position where the community is something to be protected from, or not even, I don't even like that phrasing, where the community has elements that you need to prepare your kids for, and maybe keep them away from, while still acknowledging the strengths of that same community, right? But would you, as Chills has thrown in the chat, would you devise a 20-year plan for your kids?
For my kid, sure, but that's a very easy monetary setup. There's no, it's not a complicated algorithm on how to set children up for 20 years with compounded perpetuity for a certain
I think
amount
the
of
question is less financially than like, would you pick a lane for them?
and I'm getting there, right? I see the 20-year plan for my kids. I would do a 20-year plan for a hood, for a community, for a school of kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, do a 20-year plan for a particular section of Southside Chicago. Be like, these 12 kids over here, this is their 20-year plan. We're gonna invest in straight technology related things to these kids. And we're gonna give them the resources. We're gonna make sure that they go to the right schools, whatever. and let's see what happens then. That's a different thing than my kids. Give my kids a 20-year plan. Me personally, I don't, nah. I'm not. I can create an infrastructure that can help support that. That's my contribution to it. But the world is your oyster. Go ahead and paint. All right, Captain Saberho, come on, man. We talk about these kids.
I mess with that, but that, yeah, I think that speaks to the privilege that we have I'm speaking it into existence, but being in a position where we're at least stable enough that I can allow my kid to explore a little bit and choose a pathway, and maybe I can just give them the tools that I feel like will help you be successful in whatever lane that you pick, right? If I teach you how to be organized, if I teach you how to problem solve, if I teach you how to manage your time, if I teach you how to manage your money, then regardless of what type of business or endeavor you get into, you're going to have skills that you can apply to that. And another part of it is just being present, right? Again, speaking things into the future and existence, but I want to be present for my kids. My kids are tennis aficionados. They're killing it on the tennis court. I want to be there on the sideline, and maybe not in as high shorts as Richard had on, but you know what I'm saying? I'm going to be present. I'm going to be posted up. And support them. If they love rock them, if they build in battle robots, you know what I mean? I'm going to be battle robot dad, right? Whatever they want to do, being there and showing that support, I think means the world to kids. I love what you said about giving them the ideas, like helping folks envision what they could be, right? I think that's a big part of the role as parents. And what I'm appreciative of my parents is there wasn't like this unconditional support for whatever I wanted to do, but there was an underlying belief in what I could be, right? And I knew my parents believed in me, and I knew that they cared about what I wanted to do, and that meant the world.
The greatest gift I would want to share with my children is the gift that the universe has bestowed upon me, which is the fact that you literally can create the reality that you want. Like forget like the word manifestation is being used and whatever the case is. That's not necessarily what I'm talking about, but quite literally you can intentfully speak things out, and if you're willing to commit yourself to the process of it, it can literally happen. That is like the science of this world, and giving a child enough confidence to be able to do that based on something that makes them happy. That's it. Amen. That's what we all want. That's what we all want, is to be happy, is to be doing what we love and being happy. That's it.
Well, I love talking to y'all, talking to you, hearing from Chills in the chat. We want to hear from more folks in the chat. We want to hear more topics and things that we should recommend and review, but I'm just grateful to be in this space, to be able to peruse through some carefully curated content with my compadre, my compatriot, my co-conspirator, Zway. I appreciate you, man. I think we done served these people up a hot plate of content, some food for thought. What you think?